We're here actually to be able to bring together peoples that want to say, like the Zapatistas did, ya basta. And the Kurds are saying it in their own language, in their own way, edibese.
Nuda buka Kurdistan, nuda hevala öcelan, nuda khwashigi buna velat, nuda khwade bendachiyan.
For the last century, there has been various different attacks against the Kurdish resistance, an attempt to construct a different life, away from what we know recently of capitalist lifestyle.
Nuda buka Kurdistan, nuda hevala öcelan, nuda khwashigi buna velat, nuda khwade bendachiyan. Jiyane de pirbihaburi hevala viyanabu.
Everybody knows that Islamic State could not have appeared on the political stage within a year or two with such powerful weapons, money, and how to use those weapons. It takes time for people to learn how they should use these weapons. And we saw that, they especially attacked different peoples living in that region. Kurds are indigenous, Assyrians are indigenous, Armenians are indigenous. There are Turkomans in that region. So anybody who is different to them, who is not accepting their ideology, were actually targeted. Kurds have come to the agenda of the whole world, even the mainstream media, because of their resistance in Kobane. The resistance there has been a resistance and a struggle to build something different than has been pushed on to the people living in the Middle East. Islamic State was unstoppable, and together with the male guerrillas, it was the women's defense units actually stopped them. But these defense units are not just armed forces, They are ideological, they are political. We're not just talking about women reconstructing themselves, we're talking about men as well. PKK is the only movement that's talking about killing the dominant men. Women and men need to be reborn so that we get rid of the characterization that has been given to us through 5,000 years of excessive violence used against us, excessive enslavement, exploitation. The quest is to understand not only to make a critique of capitalism, but to also understand our own praxis, and to draw conclusions from there. And so when the PKK did this, and Öcalan and the Kurdish freedom movement and women's movement especially, they came to the conclusion that we are not going deep enough into what the problem is. Women's freedom or women's enslavement is not a side issue. This is where the PKK is now differing from Marxism. It is saying that the fundamental contradiction is not class, but women's enslavement, because she is the first colony and the first class, and in fact the first nation. So therefore, what we're looking at is a 5,000 years of patriarchy, we're saying, and we're saying that capitalism is part of this 5,000-year-old patriarchy. Therefore, for us not to regenerate, we have to fight with ourselves first, struggle against ourselves as well, and to be able to construct another woman, but this woman needs to be constructed by women, not by men, or by the society at large. That's why there's an autonomous women's movement within the Kurdish freedom movement. From this oppression and enslavement of women, other forms of exploitation and colonization grew. So they copycatted this exploitation and colonization, and then classes and nations and etc. If movements or alternative ways of life doesn't take this into consideration, they can but not repeat what we have, because that's the basis of it. The left in the world has gone into a routine, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union and of real socialism in many of the countries. People stopped actually, I think, believing in, that an alternative life is possible, especially after such huge struggles, a lot of people losing their lives, a lot of effort to build something, and then seeing that it crumbled, like in the case of Soviet Union, and more nationalism, religionism came out of there than anywhere else. So people lost faith, or hope rather, that something different can be built. And I think just when this hope was lost, we're seeing examples of Zapatista and the Kurds that hope is not something that you find elsewhere, hope is something that you find within yourself. And the more you can actually create something different, this is how you create hope. You create it. They are trying to implement a different vision of life. And they are trying to defend this and to grow this, What time will bring, nobody knows. But for now, what we can see is that they are really insistent on this. While everybody talked about revolution, people in Kobane are doing revolution each and every day. And they are saying either free life or no life at all.
دجمن كتي